So for this first devlog, I'm just going to catch you up to speed on what's been done so far. Most of the work has been on the movement system. It's not actually Chaos movement or any older Unreal system for movement. It is a custom movement component in C++ that is essentially just adding a force at each of the rollers locations. Okay, so I've re-enabled the line traces on the actual wheel locations. And they're a bit hard to see here, but this is it tracing from the maximum position to where the actual ground is, and then moving the roller in an animation blueprint down to that level. So you can see as we start driving, the traces moving it along the ground. I haven't tuned it. As you can see, it's very slippery still. I'm not sure if I'll have to add an artificial force to counteract that, but I've just recently got it to working enough. And you can see it does animate the rollers as we go over the hill. You can also, the blurriness is because these rollers are actually spinning the physical mesh. I wanted to do a material displacement that faked the movement, but all the examples that I've seen use a node that seems to be broken in 5.5, so for now this is the best we can do. But movement isn't all that I've worked on so far. We also have the beginning of the projectile system, which again, also not tuned. You can tell the ricochet speed is a little high. It should probably be a little reduced than that from hitting the ground at that angle, but it works at high speed. And it also has penetration logic. So these models have thickness plating. So the models split into each of its faces, and the faces are given a thickness value that the projectile will then sample when it hits it. There's also an internal hull with the same thicknesses for internal traces against shrapnel or the projectile actually going through it. So if we take a few shots at the armored part of our model, you can see a ricochet, another ricochet, not getting through the hole that way, maybe frontally. Nope, still too thick. What about the weaker side? We can see where the hits impacted the thin skirt, which is only 20, we'll say millimeters thick. There's not really a unit for it yet, it's just 20. And that spawns some shrapnel that hits this part. And the amount of shrapnel is based on how thick the plate is and how fast the projectile is going, or lower is better. I'll explain the math in like a actual text post so not bore you. But there's a secondary penetration effect as it hits the internal plate, and that's this here. It's kind of hard to see because the exposure is set to automatic. And then a third penetration causes shrapnel against the outside skirt, which doesn't really matter, but this could cause damage to the sprocket, which don't have hitboxes yet, but they will. And all of this shrapnel on the inside would hit internal components. And then the round is actually ejected through the other side to where it could hit another vehicle or something. And that's pretty much it for now. From here, the focus is going to be on tuning the projectile system. There are some pretty major bugs with it, especially on these weaker plates or bouncing between weaker plates. But for what amount of time has been spent on this, I like where it's going so far. So now it just needs to be tuned into a more stable form. And once that's done, I want to implement a basic version of the hit replay system. I feel like that's going to be important for debugging during gameplay. And then from there, I'll add probably a few more weapons and holes, and then I'll make the first playable demo, which shouldn't be too far away. So stay tuned. I'm going to update with anything notable worth updating. And if you haven't already, join the Discord. I'll post less video-worthy things as we go in there, so if you're interested. Otherwise, thanks for watching.